remember all our teachers. May they be well physically, mentally. May they continue their work to continue spreading goodness and techniques and wisdom for the benefit of many. May we continue with the same goal to striving to beautify our way of living, our attitudes and mind, so it will be beneficial for ourselves, our families, and all things eventually. Remember the teacher of all our teachers. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato sama sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato sama sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato sama sambuddhassa.
Morning, everybody.
Morning.
So, welcome everybody. Today we are going to a new section of chapter 1, which is 5 material sphere Cittas. But before going to that, there are a few things from last week that we want to clarify a little bit. Yes? Yes. Okay, so first of all, last week, Marcelo asked the question. He said, why people in Myanmar offer so much, but they are materially poor in comparison, and we who haven't practiced so much dana, so much generosity, and why are we materially richer? Yes. So, in theory, that if someone practices a lot of generosity, they should be materially also wealthy. But why is it not happening in this way? So, the answer is timing. So actually, karma does not give result, does not necessarily give result immediately, because our sense of time, in comparison with the universe and with the Dhamma, it's quite limited, our time. So sense of time. So if we do a good action, good result will certainly happen. If we do a bad action, bad result will certainly happen. But when it is until the conditions are all until all conditions met. So if somebody at the moment is in a less fortunate situation, it's because their past actions, there haven't been good enough good past actions to support the present moment to have a good result. But that does not mean that whatever they are doing now will not give result in the future. So say for example for us now, even if we are not doing enough sufficient generosity at the moment, but we don't know what we did in the past. So we are now enjoying the fruits of what we did in the past, good deeds. But the only thing is, if we don't continue doing, now it will also finish. So whatever it may be, if persons that are at the moment with less good conditions, is because of not enough past support for good result to happen. And if at the moment, also because they have this information, that's why even they have very little, they continue giving, because they know planting good seeds is good for them also, and it's good for others, good for them, and also it's also a practice of detachment. So that's why they also continue doing. So that's just only one point to clarify from last week. Any question about that? Yeah,
and as we said last class, we are never certain what is better karma. To have a situation that pushes us a little bit more to maturity, or so often the conditions that often spoil people to having everything materially. So it is hard to know for certain what will be better. Definitely, the Buddha said that the less hunger we have, the less need to be searching outside, the more time we will have for inner cultivation. But in terms of maturity, even science have proven have been proven that people with less is much more creative generally, and much maturity arrives
And
sooner.
also
So
happier,
Hmm?
much more happier.
And also happier, less things to take care. So I mean that's only one, but mostly this one that Charana is saying, karma is very intricate and was one of the 4 things that the Buddha described as unknowable. Only a Buddha can know really, or see a person and exactly know where his actions are taking him and from which actions he arrived. So I think we have mentioned before the 4 unknowables. One is karma. It will be impossible. There are so many causes for us to be alive. For example, there are so many conditions that need to be fulfilled. That there is oxygen, that we are healthy. So many things. And another unknowable is that we will never know where our body is gonna be disposed after we die. So that he mentioned 4 is very interesting. That.
So I think the best will be, as we saw last week, do good actions with wisdom. So the more wisdom there will be, whatever the person may be born rich or poor, if he has wisdom, then he will make good choice and it will be good in that life. So the best thing is to cultivate wisdom. Any comments, ideas, questions until here? Okay? Yes? Okay, so let's continue. We are still in last week's content and we will continue a little bit with last week's content because we finished with akusala and kusala, what is practically considered as good action and bad action. Yes? So here there is a point that we need to remember and be careful about it because whenever we use these 2 words, akusala and kusala, is always about action. So this kusala and akusala, cittas, they are always actions that we are doing, physically, verbal, or mental. Yes. So there is no, there are result of kusala or result of akusala, but there is no akusala itself is not a result because it's always an action. Yes. So kusala as well. So whenever we see kusala and akusala, is always action. So this we have to be very clear.
When we mention kusala vipaka or akusala vipaka, as we know, is the fruit or the result of our good or bad action. So actually when we say, that person has bad karma, if he's not acting at that moment, what we technically mean is, that person has bad akusala vipaka. We cannot say you have bad karma because you are doing bad karma or you are doing good karma. Yes, because you are doing it is the action. And then generally we need to add that word. Our teachers always say, actually he has bad akusala vipaka. No? Is the result of his previous actions is what comes with it.
Yes, so we have to differentiate a little bit the usage. If we are talking about the Abhidhamma, then technical usage, then we have to be precise of what this word means only. But if we are talking daily, let's say for example about karma, if we are talking general daily, then that karma include cause and effect already because it is the result also. That's why people say good karma and bad karma. The action and its result, yes, including not only mind result, which is vipaka citta, but also including the material things. Also, this also included in general terms. But if we talk about technical terms in Abhidhamma, vipaka refer only to those kinds of resultant consciousness, only consciousness. Then the material is called something else. In that case, in technical terms, no. In daily terms, then vipaka, everything that is result in daily terms. So this also we need to see the context of how we are using. Okay, so last week Andrea mentioned a little bit that when she answered the quiz, then she remembered the chart. And because of that, then there was a wrong answer, and so then I thought, okay, so maybe something's wrong with the chart, and something's not clear with the chart. So I wanted to make clear a little bit the chart because now by this time the chart is already very familiar in our mind. So I wanted to explain a little bit better the chart. So the first part here of the chart, we are talking about kamavachara cittas, the sense sphere citta, which is those cittas that takes senses, material sense objects, yes, So this is talking about the plane and the objects. Plane meaning like where this kind of cittas mostly arise in the sense realm, no?
Like where we live, and the kind of contact of minds that arise because we see, because we hear, smell, touch, etc.
Yes. So we are talking about the plane and the objects, which are sense objects. Yes. Then the second layer of this chart is actually about roots. Here is the 3 bad roots, Loba, Dosa, Moha, and here is no roots,
Ahetuka,
and here is the good roots, beautiful roots. Yes. So it is divided of bad roots, no roots, and good roots. Yes. And the last layer of this chart is groups of cittas according to roots. Now, as you can see, it's according to roots, but not according to types. Yes, because you remember, then when we were talking about types, that we talked about there are 4 types of cittas according to its nature, which is Akusala and Kusala. We just mentioned that they are always about actions. They are planting seeds. So there's one type of cittas that are actions. Then we have another type, which is Vipaka, which is resultant. So they can be result of rootless resultant of good action, resultant with roots of good action, rootless resultant of bad actions. Yes. And then we have another one, which is functional, meaning that it only does a function and it passes away. It is neither action nor fruits. Yes, because they don't plant seeds anymore, and they are also not results of the action. Yes. Okay. So they are only functional. They only arises and perform their function and passes away. So these are the 4 types of types, no, according to types. So let's come back to the chart. So here it is according to roots and not according to types. So although these ones, they all have bad roots, and they are all akusala citta, no? They are all actions. They are of the same group here, but here they are not of the same type. Yes, because these are resultant. They are no roots. And this one is a functional, but also it has no roots. So they are grouped together, but they are not the same. Yes, in terms of types. And here also is an action, is a result, and it's a functional. So they are, although they are of the same group, because they all have good roots, but they are not the same types. Yes. Okay. So until here, clear? Yes. Okay. So now let's go back to the quiz. In quiz number 7, there was a question that says, what kind of cittas are the result of sense sphere wholesome cittas? Yes? What kind of cittas are the result of wholesome citta? Well, sense sphere is okay because we're only talking about sense sphere at the moment. We haven't seen anything else. So wholesome of kusala cittas, yes? So in terms of graphically, we are talking about these, yes? So which are the results of these ones? Yes? So which ones? Like wholesome results should be? And yes, these ones and these ones, yes? Because this one is rootless, wholesome resultant, and this is resultant with roots, yes? They are the result of good actions. And some of you answered, actually quite a few answered also the function. Actually, this is only these 2, yeah. But some of you answered also these functionals, so that's why we are making the clarification. So as we see that they are different types, these are functionals, no? They are not resultants. They only perform the function and then they passes away. So they cannot be the result of wholesome actions. So I was thinking today we are going to move to another category of cittas. The no more kamavachara is now rupavachara. So why don't we do a little revision of all this, what it was, before we move to the next group. Yes. So let's take a look at these 3 first. Remember what they are? They are agusala cittas. Yes. So which means that they are causes. So agusala cittas include what physical, verbal, or mental actions that plant seeds. Negative ones. So there are loba mula cittas. The loba mula, the ones that rooted consciousness, hatred rooted consciousness, dosa mula, and moha mula, delusion rooted consciousness. Yes. So this group is unwholesome actions. Yes. No problem here. Yeah. Okay. So next, these 2. As they are ahetuka vipaka cittas, meaning rootless resultant cittas. So they are results, and they have no roots. And result of what? This one.
Previous actions.
Result of bad actions with Aura Kusala. And this one result of what? Result of Kusala, result of good actions. And what kind of Cittas are there? The five senses, five sense consciousness. Here not specifically whether it is good or bad. Now I just put because they are the same category. Only they are unwholesome resultant when they meet with bad objects. Yes, unpleasant objects. And if it is a pleasant object, it is resultant of good actions. Remember. So the five senses, receiving consciousness and investigating consciousness, are these type of consciousness that are rootless resultant. That they are a little bit weak, no? That they themselves does not develop roots.
Mind only is not there.
Mind door?
Mind door is not there.
No, it's coming.
Okay.
Remember, it is a functional. Yes? So this one, the next group is Ahetuka Kriya Chitta. So the last group is only the five senses plus receiving and investigating. Yes, 7 of them. Yes? Okay, so Ahetuka Kriya Cittas, rootless functional Cittas, this the last one of this group, no roots and functional, what are they? Those are in the 5-door process, the turning consciousness, remember? The one that turns to see what happened, like in the mental process that we have saw this, that the consciousness that turned to the object, or the mind door, in the mind door process, also the mind door averting consciousness. So these ones, so this one is only a function. It is not a result of anything. And it is not a cause also. It does not plant seed, and it also does not, it's not a result, because there is actually really simple consciousness. This is like just, say, I pretend to be the mind. It's just like something is happening, only that. It's just, only that, and then another do it. So he only do an action. So he's not planting seed, and he's also not a result of whether it is good action or bad action. It's simply doing a function. Yes. So these two types. These two types is only functional. Yes. And also there was another one, is the Hasitupada, the smiling consciousness of a fully enlightened being. Yes. Also they don't plant seeds anymore. Yes. Whatever they do, and also it is not a result of any action. So these are only functional. Until here, clear? Okay. So let's see the last group. This one is quite obvious. Kusala Cittas, wholesome Cittas. They are with sometimes 2 roots, sometimes 3 roots. Remember, wisdom is not always there. Sometimes there, sometimes not. And loving kindness and generosity is always there. So they are causes, they plant seeds, and they are the good actions that one do. Mental, verbal, or physical actions that one do. Good Cittas. Yes? Okay, so here no problem. Now, let's come to the apple, the resultant. This is Sahetuka Kamavachara Vipaka Citta, which is sense sphere wholesome resultant Cittas with roots. Yes, so these ones are the other type of resultant of good actions, which is identical. The result is identical with the cause. Yes, and as we mentioned, then they performed one kind of function of rebirth linking consciousness. Yes, so say for example a person, when he died, the karma, the cause of a previous good action became the cause of his rebirth. Then when he is reborn in another life, then that rebirth consciousness, the first consciousness is also, the rebirth consciousness is also with the 3 roots because they are identical. Yes, so if it is 2, then it will be 2. If it is 3, then it will be 3. So it also performs one of the functions as rebirth consciousness. So these ones are with roots. Okay, now the last group is functional consciousness. Sahetuka Kamavachara Kriya Cittas, sense sphere functional citta with roots. Those are the cittas that when a fully enlightened person, when he performed good actions, then he does not plant seeds anymore. But it is also not a fruit because he's actually doing something. Just that he doesn't plant seeds because he has no more unwholesome roots in his mind. So he only do the action, perform the action. It only do the function, and that's it. It does not leave any karmic result anymore. So no, not seeds, and not fruits. In this case, functional.
Yeah. If we are here because of a fruit of previous action, in the case of an Arahant or a Buddha, he is not planting anything else, so there cannot be any more fruit. So he is free already from the cycle of samsara although he's still alive by his previous actions.
He still have some fruits.
That was the way the
From
Buddha
the
lived 45 years. He got enlightened, fully enlightened, and then he just did good because there was no bad root anymore. So the only thing that could come out of him was goodness, loving kindness, compassion, and wisdom. But he was not planting anything else. That's why when he died, no fruit came out. So he was totally free from this cycle of the suffering that samsara generates. So in the same case, if we get enlightened, just as an arahant, no need to become a fully enlightened Buddha, we will be in the same way free from that, and our mind will continue to be working only with goodness as a function. He is not intending, he don't want anymore, nothing else. So he will just be planting and receiving, I mean, just that goodness, that he will be staying alive, and then
he will not plant
anymore, and then it just pass away, and then the cycle. He can finally, that person can finally go to rest. That cycle is over. No more suffering, no more birth, no more aging, no more sickness, no more dying anymore. Free. The deathless. They call the deathless because there is not born anymore, not death anymore.
Yes.
So the fact that the Buddha could live 45 years teaching is the result of so many good actions, previous actions, so he could live so many years after his enlightenment, right? Because could be like, okay, I get enlightened and live like 3 years, and then, you know, so for the benefit of all of us, what the result is, now I understand that it's like so many work before this.
Actually, our teacher says, I have mentioned a few times, that if a person, any of us get enlightened, we should go and become a monk almost immediately. Otherwise, that person
totally
arahant. Yes. If we become an arahant, the teacher says you better go to a monastery and get ordained. We can get enlightened as a lay person, but if we get enlightened as arahant, we may die. Because there is no more interest.
Nothing to do.
Nothing to do. I mean, the mind is free already. The mind don't want nothing else.
Yeah.
So that person can die. So the teacher says, please go to the monastery, ordain this
for
the benefit of others. So that person stay and share, because he or she has already arrived to the end of the road. So he can clearly say how to arrive. We are just until now, because we haven't finished. We are just on the way, same as all of us. We are exploring, but we cannot for certain tell, yes, it is there and this is how you do it. We know the theory, and fortunately, the teachers who have arrived before left a very clear map. That's what we are exploring as brothers and sisters. But that person is very important not to go away. That's why the Buddha made them depend on the lay people. Because if an arahant stay in the mountain, he died there, finished. He has no more interest, and then the body will just get weaker and weaker, and he will have no suffering because of time. So the teacher says that when people goes, you better go to the monastery, get ordained, shave, put your robes, and serve. So because he really knows.
Yes. And also there is also another reason, is because when a fully enlightened person stay in the community as lay person, let's say, then it is a little bit dangerous for other people. Why?
For the people around, it's dangerous.
Because the other people don't know that he is fully enlightened person. Yes, so they might, they might hurt him, or they might say something bad to him. Then for them, it's so bad karma. For the enlightened person, no problem, because he don't get angry anyway. But for the other person who is doing the action, without knowing that he is a fully enlightened person, then might have very bad result. Because as we see last time, they depend on the morality of the people. If you offer to people with better morality, then the seed is better quality. And if you also insult or do bad to a fully enlightened person, then the result is also very bad. So it could be dangerous for the people around if they don't know.
There are a few stories that a person was practicing, and people can sense that he was really intent on practicing, and one time he wakes up and tells to the wife, you know, I must go to the monastery. Then everybody knew, oh, he got enlightened. And that person does it for the benefit of the people around, because to talk like, hey, how are you? Like normally we would speak to someone, to talk like that to a fully enlightened being, I mean to an enlightened arahant, fully enlightened being, it will be very disrespectful and bad karma for the people who doesn't know. So the people, the arahants go to the monastery to protect their family from doing bad karma. So when you look at these things, it's like so much beauty in it. But apparently we cannot understand, oh, why did this guy this action like this? But actually the mind, the reality of the universe and the reality of the mind is very complex and has consequences. So there are many beautiful stories. Maybe one day we sit, when Seattle comes, maybe we ask him to tell us all these stories. There are many stories, very beautiful, how the arahants protect their family by living. Right?
Is there a place where the enlightened consciousness goes after
dying?
After dying?
No.
First of all,
Nibbana is not a place.
Yeah. And first of all, there is the enlightened consciousness also arises and passes away. So it is not like a static consciousness that lives on and lives on, no? Because as we are studying now, every consciousness arises and passes away immediately, another arises and passes away immediately. So in this case, the teachers, they used an example, a very beautiful example, maybe Bante, you want to share.
It's like we have a fireplace here, we have a fire pit, and then we're looking at the fire. When the wood is consumed, that question will be to say, where is the fire?
Where is the fire gone?
Where is the fire gone? It's not that the fire didn't go nowhere, but the cause for the fire to exist has ceased. There is no more. So actually, when we are living, the fire is the fire of desire keeps us alive. The wood of desire keeps the fire alive. The life. We want to be alive. We definitely, I think, none of us likes to be harmed or die. Eventually, we are always with that. It's like, oh, I would like to be comfortable and not harmed. So that desire is the wood that is keeping the fire of life alive. But then when the wood is over, there is no more desire. That fire will just exist with the wood that was there. We will not put wood anymore. If we don't want to have fire, we just don't put wood, and the fire will go extinguished naturally. It's because of desire we want to continue having movement and heat that we continue putting wood on the fire. Then that wood we don't put anymore. That means an arahant arises and he don't put fire anymore, so he stays alive with the wood that was previously put, the leftover. So he's just looking there, and then finally he dies, but there was no more desire anymore, and that fire did not go nowhere. It was just not possible to be sustained anymore. So Nibbana is the deathless, the nowhere, the unconditioned. So it just does not come back again because there is no more desire for it to continue burning.
Could we say that it ceased to exist?
Yes.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yes, exactly.
There is no cause, there is no effect.
Yeah.
So the wood, just the last wood, when the Buddha died, when he was 80 years, the last wood was there, the last wood, and he, with that fire left, even the last word he was asking us, please continue, please don't stop, continue cultivating wisdom. He used all that fire until the last, literally the last breath, to continue teaching. Tell apamadena sampadeta. That was the last words he says. Please diligently continue striving for liberation. Continue trying to liberate yourself. It is possible. And then he passed away. It is.
So it is the same as the fire. If there is no more condition, then no more fire, and it would not be a correct question to ask where the fire has gone. Because this simply they didn't go nowhere. It's just
and as Charana mentioned, even right now, our consciousness is moving nowhere. Actually, right now it is doing it. It is arising and passes away. It arises with goodness and ceases with goodness.
Only there is condition, so that's why more consciousness is arising.
It arises with badness and it decreases with badness, but actually there is no sense of, in our mental conditioning, we think like, I am moving, my soul or something is moving from place to place, but there is nothing moving. It's just the process one after the other, like the atoms are rising and passing away.
See, some people
the essence.
See, my hand is here at this moment, and then it is here in this moment, yes? So this hand and this hand, actually the hand did not move here. It couldn't move here because the hand that was here is not this hand anymore, and it cannot move. All the atoms that arises and passes away here, and then it appeared in the next position, arises and passes away. Next position, arises and passes away. Next position, arises and passes away. Arises and passes away. This one that was here never moved here. It is a totally new one. Same as the body, same as the mind.
As we are moving, these atoms here are gone. That's why now new atoms are here. And we
it
see,
arised there. It
but
never moved.
because it is stick to the body, we think, oh, the hand moved here. No, this hand is existing here right now. Arise, pass away, and now it's here. These atoms are in this position in time and space, and no more of this.
There and,
and it has been like this all our lives. That's why we get old. Otherwise, the same thing will move. We will be babies forever. That's why we get older. And from now is here. Now this hand is a few milliseconds older than the one that was here, and is moving, and the atoms are arising. And this is a proven fact by science. Our atoms arise and pass away, arise and pass away. That's why we are able. Otherwise, we will be stuck in reality. Imagine a reality of Las Momias de Marfil. Everybody will not move. If the thing will not move, we will be like this. But no, the thing is moving, is arising, passing away. That's why there is movement. That's why there is flow. Life and death, life and death. We are dying right now. We are right now dying moment to moment and getting closer to the ultimate death in this life. Because there comes another one. Nature is just moving. Consciousness, matter.
Okay. So, until here, everybody okay? Any comment? Any questions? No? Okay. So let's continue. So now we finished. Now really finished. We said we're finished for 3 weeks already. Kamavachara Cittas, sense, fear, consciousness. This whole group, 54 consciousness or 54 Cittas, finished now. Really finished. So it's clear now about the chat, and also whoever answered the quiz, clear like why these ones are not results. Yes. Okay. Now, so Kamavachara Citta is finished. Now we move to another section, Rupavachara Cittas and Avrupavachara Cittas, and then we have Lokutara Cittas, super mundane.